our first attendees. Thanks for joining our webinar today, our subject webinar with the umbrella topic of studying cultural studies and sociology in Germany. My name is Georgi. I will be, and I am, the co-host / co-moderator of the webinar. But of course, our key guests, you can see them also on your screens right now. We have guests from German universities who will talk about their specific study programs. They will do their presentation, and you have an opportunity to ask directly questions to our guests, and then they will provide you with the best possible answer because they know the most about their study programs, of course. You can see, dear attendees, the Q&A button. It is just next to the chat button. So it is already open. You can already actually send in your questions, and it will be open until the very end of the webinar, which means for around 15 minutes to 1 hour maximum. And you can send in your questions there. You might get immediately the answers in the written form. If not, then you will definitely get the answer during our live Q&A session, which will start in around 35 minutes. So stay tuned and your question will be definitely answered. Let me make a short presentation that I prepared, share with you short presentations that I prepared for you, and then we'll move to our guests. So first of all, once again, the agenda for today. So we have guest from 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘥 University Lüneburg. So Dr. Lydia Jorgensen will talk about Master of Arts level program in Cultural Organization. And then we will move to Friedensau Adventist University or 𝘗𝘪𝘵𝘩 Hochschule Friedensau. And we have Dr. Annette Witherspoon, and she will talk about Bachelor of Arts level program in International Social Work. So we have Bachelor and Master's programs both today. So who is behind today's webinar? Very briefly. So it is my German university, if you have not heard about us. So whenever you are trying to find programs in Germany, which are at least mostly taught in English, our name will appear there, definitely. So we are Germany's largest database when it comes to English taught study programs. We are already reaching 2,800 degree programs, which are listed in our database, both on bachelor level, also on master's level. We even have some short courses and language courses as well listed in our database, which is called Study Finder. So, and this Study Finder is exactly one of the key ways of helping international students to find their way towards studying in Germany. So, the Study Finder has lots of filters. Now you can see just a demo version of it, but it has lots of filters. When you visit our website, you can see that you can find programs not only according to the discipline, according to the location, but according even to your, of course, according to the fees, but also according to your test scores in English, according to the mode of application, for example, whether it's whether it's uni assist or directly university, or whether you need VPD. So on and so forth. Lots of filters which will make your search for the right program much easy and more time efficient. Second way of helping you is through writing articles. We have numerous articles regarding studying in Germany. So for example, if you are coming from countries where APS is required, we have articles on that. We have articles on letter of motivation writing in case you need to write a letter of motivation for your application to the study program. We have articles on blocked account issues, on even job seeker visa. As soon when you finalize your studies, for example, it will be relevant for you. Hochschulstart, rankings, and so on and so forth. So lots of articles where we do a deep dive, and all these articles are for free. And my strong suggestion would be to get yourself acquainted according to the topics that you are interested in, of course. Last but not least, the third key way of helping you is through organizing webinars for you. We have around 150 webinars per year on different topics. So we have two blocks of webinars. One is called general webinars, where, for example, we have a webinar about studying in Germany, about uni assist, about visa, and so on and so forth. These general topics where we are alone, my German university team, and we are talking about these kind of general topics. And then we have subject webinars, like the one that you're attending right now, on different subjects. For example, cultural studies, sociology, it can be political science, it can be biology, it can be chemistry, mechanical engineering, and so on and so forth. All of the webinars like these, where we have special guests from German universities, you can find them in our webinar section, and you can sign up for these webinars for free, and of course attend them as well for free. Our team is quite international. Yeah, we are based in Hamburg in northern Germany, but our team members are all over Germany and also even outside of Germany. That's why we are counseling in various languages. For those students or applicants who are interested also in German taught study programs, my suggestion would be also to check out Hochschulkompass. There you might find some interesting programs regarding the discipline, I mean, in the field of cultural studies and sociology, but most of them would be German taught. That's why I suggest, like, if you know German, you should check it out. But if you're more targeting at English taught study programs, then my German university should definitely be your stop with our study finder. There you will find lots of programs, both on bachelor level and also master's level when it comes to cultural studies and sociology. Yeah, if you do not know what to expect when it comes to studying, for example, these subjects in Germany, we also have subject pages for you created especially, where you can find some general information. For example, what are the rankings of the universities that are offering degrees in these disciplines? What are the tuition fee ranges that you should expect and you should budget for? What are the requirements that you should be ready for? So this kind of first step and towards like creating a bigger picture for yourself of what does it mean to study in Germany and to like shape the expectations. And yeah, we have the subject pages for each and every subject, by the way. Our suggestion is that, yeah, finding the right university and study program is one of the most, if not the most crucial step towards your successful future. That's why you should invest enough time into that. Don't be guided only by sole aspects like only fees, only rankings, only names, only cities. Yeah, you should combine all this together and go even much further than that. You have to take into account your internet interests, your background, your culture, your professional aspirations, and only then you will be able to make an informed and right decision. This is our suggestion to you. Also in Germany, what I would like to underline, there are two key types of universities. One is called Universität type of university, and another one is called University of Applied Sciences in English. And in German, it has some variations in namings. For example, Hochschule, Fachhochschule can be one of those variations. So the key difference between these two types of universities is in focus in general. So when we are talking about Universität type of university, the focus usually is more on research and theory. And in case of University of Applied Sciences, the focus is more into the application and practice. Last but not least, in addition to the aspects that I mentioned that you should ideally take into account while searching for the right program, when you are trying to find programs on our study finder without filters, we would suggest you to be flexible with wordings when you are doing that. Don't be too rigid. And by doing that, by combining all these suggestions together, you'll make sure that you will drastically increase your chances of being aware of what Germany is able to offer you based on your interest and your background. And then, of course, the chances that you'll make the right decision will be much, much higher. So that's why invest your time into that. And yeah, so when today, actually, you might already find the programs that you would like to maybe to apply to. So that's why we're starting. We're starting with Leuphana University Lüneburg, our first guest for today. You can see that it's located, also we are staying in northern Germany. It's located in the northern Germany. Dr. Lydia Jorgensen will talk about master's level program in culture and organization. I will stop my screen share right now and hand it over to our guest.
Thank you very much for passing on the word. And now I'll try to share the screen. Oops, let's start. Can you see it?
Yes.
Good. Yeah. Thank you for the general introduction, and now I'll go into introducing our study program. First of all, my name is Lydia Jorgensen, and I'm a program coordinator of the Cultural Studies Master Program, Culture and Organization at Leuphana, and I'm also teaching on the program and supervising, for example, master thesis and so on. So in that sense, I'm involved in the program on different levels, so to speak. Starting off here, you already see a bit of our campus, our famous 𝘱𝘱𝘕𝑔𝑗𝑔 building as the main building. And why this is also on the first slide is also a way to kind of, or it kind of puts an impetus on what is the distinct feature of our program. Because on the one hand, we are interested in the organization of culture and the arts, like in architecture or museums and so forth, but also what is the culturalization of organizations. So how organizations take cultural issues into their everyday life and work with it, so to speak. And we do that from both an empirical and theoretical perspective, but I'll go more into that in some of the next slides. So yeah, as already mentioned, we are situated close to Hamburg in the north of Germany, depending on, if you know the program or the university already. And also, one thing is that, we are close to a big city like Hamburg, a metropolitan, or we are in the metropolitan region. But why that is also important to us, or where we are located, is also since we are doing a lot of research where we also use contacts or the empirical field as being museums, for example, or we have courses located with other universities in Berlin, for example. So we also use the environment we are part of and investigate that as part of our research practice, so to speak. So just to say, one thing is, you are close to a big city, but and have this smaller city of Lüneburg where we are situated, and a nice campus, but that we also use these environments as part of our field of research, so to speak. Moving on then, what does it mean to study, or what are the types of questions we are interested in when we are engaging with this type of program in the intersection between culture and organization and the arts? So it is partly, how does art and culture, how is that organized? How do museums organize, for example, or also entrepreneurial businesses, for that sake? What is the relation between art, creativity, and diversity, for example, and how does that have an impact on organization? How are urban spaces organized and designed, but also how are they experienced by an audience, for example, or by in everyday life, for example? Another element is, of course, also, or digital media. How does that have an impetus on how we work, how we organize, how we interact, which is something we are interested in? And these are, of course, only some of the questions. There are multiple other questions that could be of interest, like gendered issue, for example, to take into account. So if you have an interest within some of these areas or types of questions, then a master study or master program like ours might be of interest for you. And of course, if you have questions for that, you can also reserve them for later. Now there's a problem in my screen. Passing on. Okay. So again, why study then in at Leuphana and the program of culture and organization? One thing is to reflect upon organizational issues and entrepreneurial practices as part of arts and culture in society, but also to have this theoretical engagement with cultural and sociological theories. How can we use that to look at organizations and entrepreneuring, for example, in specific sectors like art and culture? And also from the organizational perspective, how do we manage, or how do we create leadership, for example, within these areas? As a way to also understand what makes organization or what makes entrepreneurial practices. And we do that by both orienting ourselves internationally on current and emerging theories, but also, as said before, engaging significantly in fieldwork-based education. So that means, and that was why I put this slide up first on where we are situated. So really engaging in fieldwork to inform both our teaching, but also projects we are doing in our research, so to speak. So what are the career prospects, or what is it that, after finishing a program like this, where are candidates from our program of interest? Evidently, you might say, in cultural sectors, creative industries, the arts, but it can also be the public sector developing new urban areas, for example, things like that. But we also see candidates going out into consulting and foundations, for example. And then, of course, as a university, we also have or you would also have the option to pursue an academic career within cultural studies, sociology and culture, and so forth, if that would be of your interest or your perspective, so to speak. So now a little bit on how the actual program is structured. It's a 2-year program, starting off with these 4 semesters, where we have different, so to speak, kind of modules. If you look to your left or column, or then we have a section of integrative models, which is in the first semester, history of cultural studies and its methodologies. Then you go into history of culture and studies and methodologies in its second phase, and then more current debates within cultural studies. And these are modules taken across the whole faculty of humanities and social sciences, as a way to have an awareness of the history and the methods used within cultural studies in general, and have a basic understanding of how have this developed, what does cultural studies mean, what are the foundations, how do we approach it in terms of research. So these are kind of broader spectrum together with other master programs in the faculty of humanities and social sciences. Then in red, we have what we call the core modules of the program. So in the first semester, you would start off with sociology of culture, understanding what is, how do we sociologically engage with the notion on culture and explore that, as well as a module on cultural entrepreneurship. How does you develop entrepreneuring in the cultural sector, for example? And again, in many of these core modules, we work together with cultural institutions, for example, as a way to explore also the theoretical side in a practical sense as well. Then in the second semester, as a core module, we have digital media and social organization, where we look into how digital media also becomes part of understanding culture and the way we organize both specific organizations, but also a general social organization in society. Then in the third semester, we look more specifically into the fields of culture and the arts, so more looking specifically into some of these aspects and developing them. Then if we go to the right column, it says complementary studies. And these complementary studies are seminars or courses that go beyond your core field of study, so to speak. So that is more across the whole Leuphana, where you can choose other elements or other aspects that you might find interesting. That could be issues of sustainability, for example, or gender, or I just had courses on how to write in an academic sense, for example. So there might be different ways that you want to go into with the complementary studies. Then we have the electives, which are a way for you to more focus your study, or it could also be a way to broaden, but focus your study within culture and organization. So there and I will go more into that, because there we see or you can go kind of different paths to to construct also what you find interesting within your horizon of interest, so to speak. And then in the fourth semester, we have the master dissertation, and together with that, a master forum where you will discuss your ideas and your dissertation outline with both faculty and peers in your cohort, so to speak. So that is the overall program. And looking more into the electives, as I just spoke about, these are ways where you can kind of go deeper into certain areas, or kind of construct a line of what you might find interesting. So it could be that you would go further into the question of organization, and then we have these specific modules that could be of interest. For example, looking more at power issues, or spatial aesthetic issues, or urban cultures, for example. Another element could be more a business-oriented trajectory, where you look more into management or issues of entrepreneurship, for example. Then we would also, or there could be ways of going into socio-political issues when we talk about migration, gender questions, or queerness, and bodies, and democratic issues. Another way, and these are just exemplary pathways, so it's not set in stone. You can combine that as you are your interest is fit, so to speak. But it could also be an interest in more specific cultural practices and production, so the arts and practice, or digital sound cultures, for that sake. So these are a range or examples of what could be electives or areas of electives interests that you can guide and combine as you wish. So and then again, also to say, within both the electives but also the core module, one of the things that distinguishes our program also maybe from other programs is that we work theoretically, but also put a high impetus on fieldwork-based teaching. That means going out and working together with organizations or cultural institutions, and using them as a field for research. So here are some examples. For example, working together with the art museum in Basel on organizing culture and being there, or going to Berlin on a summer academy and looking at migration and urban entrepreneurship, or working also with the 𝘸𝘠𝘪𝘁 Academy, a music hall, on how media organizes the art in Berlin, for example. So having these close relations with specific organizations and the practices out there, we see as important to inform also the theoretical work we engage in. And a way to get to learn, or to work with theory in practice, so you might say. Let me see how much time. So more to then finalize my presentation now is you can find out more information on our homepage, 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘥, where you can see some or read more about the specific program. Here you will also find some testimonials from students and their impressions of the program, some video interviews that can also be interesting to look at and get an idea of what it means to study this master program of culture and organization. Here you also find information on how to apply and what the graduate school in general offers. There's also some information on how being in this program, how it can also filters in with exchange programs at other universities as well. And as a general contact, you can contact the email culture and organization at 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘵𝘦. So I think, yeah, that is about to be my presentation now. Yeah, so I think I'll leave the floor, give the floor back to Giorgio.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Lohngårdseng, for your comprehensive presentation. And let us move now to our next speaker. And dear attendees, just as a reminder, in around 15 minutes, we'll open the floor for the live Q&A. So we are moving to 𝘱𝘢𝘳𝑗 Adventist University and to our guest, Dr. 𝘱𝘢𝘳𝘵. And we will talk about now International Social Work Bachelor of Arts level program. And you can see where it's also located on the map. So let me stop here. And the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, John. So I will share my screen. Hopefully you can see my screen clearly.
Perfect.
Good. And does it move? Just so I'm okay.
Looks good.
Good. Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Well, it's afternoon here in Germany. And if you're joining from somewhere else, maybe it's morning or evening. So my name is Annette Witherspoon, and I am the coordinator for the BA International Social Work program here at the 𝘱𝘢𝘳𝘪 Adventist University. Today in the presentation, I will try to answer a few questions, which I think will be commonly the common questions that you will have. Basically, why study international social work? What skills and competencies can you expect to get from this program? How do you get through with the admissions process? How can you finance your studies, which I know it's often important for international students, which I myself was at some point. And why study then at 𝘱𝘢𝘳𝘪 Adventist University? So firstly, international social work. Often when we think about social work, we often associate it with questions of helping people, making change, probably also advocating for some social justice issue. And if you're somebody who is in this line of thought, or you feel you can contribute in this way, then definitely going into social work or international social work will be a place for you. So at the core of it all, what we try to address, or what we try what we identify as social problems. So we want to try to find basically solutions to social problems. And in traditional social work, the view around social problems is always, and the solutions are somewhat understood to be very local. So why this is very much true, we continue to see in our new global realities, there is a kind of increasing global interdependence and a kind of interconnection globally that continues to shape how we experience local social problems, and also how new problems begin to arise. And in these realities also, and the implication, they definitely then have some implications for what we teach in social work, what kind of social work research we engage in, and how we practice social work today. So while there are multiple approaches to this question of international social work, which is reflected somewhat in the different approaches that different institutions take. For example, some institutions you take international social work as a component or a new field of social work, and there they might emphasize on increasing international collaborations. They may also focus on more comparative studies. Here at 𝘱𝘱𝘳𝘪, our approach is to work with students to develop the kind of necessary competences to become social workers despite of any geographical boundaries. So we take into consideration this interaction between the local and the global or the international. Taking into consideration, again, like I said, how these influences outside of local spaces can influence social problems on the ground, and the approaches and techniques or the kind of skills we need then to deal with these local social problems. So our BA International Social Work program then has a special focus on social work practice in the face of global interconnectedness. We ask our students, or we also encourage our students then to reimagine social work practice in the present, but also for the future. So how will social work change moving forward, seeing all of these different global changes? And we do that by focusing on four perspectives, and which is one, the global, which I keep repeating. There's also this human rights perspective. There's also the social justice and social development perspective, and the more ecological perspective, and how all of these somehow have implications for local action, okay? So we've designed the program in a way where we look at four key learning outcomes, and our curriculum is designed around these four learning outcomes. What we basically want is for students to be able to explore the global perspective, what we call the global. So this interaction between global and local. So how they're influencing each other, or one way or the other. So interpreting social problems and social relations and interactions from this binary of global and local, but also taking into consideration, as the words indicates, the intersection of these two spaces somewhat. On the other hand, we also want students to be able to gain academic skills, where beyond the study program, because it's also at the BA level where we prepare students not only to go directly into practice, but we want students to be able to also have the possibility to move up in their academic career. So we also offer them the kind of tools and skills that they need to build up their academic skills. On the other hand, we focus again more on the professional. So at the bachelor's level, in as much as we have this strong theoretical base, we also want to influence practice. So we also want our students to leave with the confidence and that they can work in this field and can be professionals and develop themselves and position themselves as professionals in the field. On the other level, we also try to develop also the personality of our students. There are many young people, we're still in this developmental stage. So it's also creating, through the courses and models that we offer, the ability for students to also develop personal skills, also taking into consideration our global interconnectedness. Okay, so on the level of our, so I just give you a quick overview of what the study plan is. So the program is a three-year program, which is meaning 6 semesters program. In the first years, it's the first year, which is 2 semesters. We kind of give you a more kind of introduction into it and give you the foundation that you need for the further development. But it's also not just a theory burdening you with a lot of theory. We also immediately in the beginning also incorporate in these models courses that you can already start to engage with the professional field. You can experience already the practice. You can begin already to build some practical skills. Okay. Important is also then in our 5th semester, we offer you a semester abroad, which also is combined with your internship. So here again, there is the opportunity then to go to build yourself up more professionally, where you engage with some of our partner institutions, universities, and agencies that are also working in the field of international social work, to also develop the skills to also experience how social work is done. It's also taught in other parts of the world, as you also get the opportunity to develop yourself and build exposure and build more international relations and collaborations. Then we also have our master's, not the master's, but the bachelor's thesis, which also is come along also with the course on the model on sustainability and society, And then you also have some electives that are built into the program. Some of the electives that we do offer is having to do with family and child welfare. So it's a combination of some of the traditional social work fields as we know them, but also incorporating some new fields. And these electives are not fixed. So there are, from semester to semester, we can also offer more or less, but oftentimes these are the kind of electives you can expect to have in the program. So with this kind of education, in what areas or fields can you work, or what can you do with this kind of information, this kind of studies? And what I really love about social work, it's very interdisciplinary. And with this, you develop a lot of skills and tools to kind of function in many sectors. And I think oftentimes, and from my own experience, with a bachelor degree in this field of social work, international social work, it offers you many career opportunities. As we say, as we train you not only to be limited to a particular geographical location, it also goes beyond different fields where you can work. So you can work in state institutions, government institutions, in government services, social work, welfare services, in government ministries dealing with gender, depending on your country. And also, it's also possible then to work into this huge NGO field where non-governmental organizations, but also with multilateral institutions like the UN and many other bodies. So I have some pictures there just to kind of spark your imagination of possible institutions. And then you can basically work in the fields of community development. You can work with refugees and migration services. This can also overlap with government institutions in the field of international development, in disasters response, and environmental social work. So there are many possibilities here. On the other hand, there are also possibilities within the private sector, where you could also work with CSR projects, corporate social responsibility initiatives, or within human resource departments, or generally doing more occupational social work activities. Again, with this infusion and this strong emphasis on academic, building up academic qualification and skills, especially with research, academic writing, and some of the other models that we offer, there is also the possibility for you after the study to move into advancing your studies in doing a master's program. And there, I think there are also a range of other opportunities that are also then possible for you, even with this degree in international social work. So here in FRINSA, we do also offer other master's programs. So we will also be glad to have you continue, or if you choose to go to another university and take up another course, this would be perfectly fine. So the next question is basically, what do you need then to study with us? So I will run you quickly through some of the boring stuff about admissions and all of that. And hopefully, if you have more questions, we can talk about them in the Q&A. And you can also visit our website, where there is also quite a lot of information and more detail. Also, the admissions office is quite willing to assist you in the process. So if you have also some direct questions, why you may contact me, you can also find the contact of the admissions office online, and you can also contact them directly. So like I said, the program is a 6-semester program with 180 ECTS. The application period is currently ongoing and ends for those who need visas on the 31st of March. And for non-visa applicants, you still have more time until the 31st of July. And there is only one intake per semester per year in this program, which is the winter semester, and meaning we're starting in October. Okay. On the admissions requirements, basically because you need to sign a study contract, we say that at admission or at enrollment, you should at least be 18 years of age. You must also meet the requirements for entry into a bachelor's program in Germany, which is the general standard and oftentimes a little bit more complicated than for master's programs. The regulations are, the requirements are also very country specific. And a tool that you can use before applying is the DAAD website. Maybe I can put this link into the chat room for you later. But for each country, you can see what is required. And if you are thinking about applying for a bachelor's program in Germany, whether it's for our program or for any other program, it's always good to first check this online and make sure what do you need. In some cases, you might not find your country listed on the DAAD link, but the main source of the information is a system called the 𝘈𝘕. So you can definitely also go to this, you can check it out online and you can find your country with some basic information. And if that information is not clear enough for you, or you still need some support understanding, our admissions office is very happy to have you send to them your documentations in advance, and they can check it out for you and tell you if you are eligible to apply for a bachelor's program in Germany or not. Okay. The third and key also key requirement, because this is a fully taught in English program, you have to have English proficiency. Okay. And this can be determined by a language test. You know the standard, probably know the standard language test like the TOEFL and so forth. You need to have at least a kind of B level in that. And for more details and specifics with this, you can also find this information on the program page on our website. For those who have done their secondary education in English, there are also some exceptions. Also for German and European students who can prove some that they did English to a certain level in the last years of their high school, there are also some exceptions. But you can check up on our website, and there are also details about this. Okay, so so these are the key requirements for entry. Okay, so unlike many other universities, at 𝘱𝑒𝑛𝑠𝑎u you will have to pay. I will come back to this. I didn't talk so much about the university, but I wanted this to be the last part. 𝘱𝑒𝑛𝑠𝑎u was a private university, and so we do have tuition fees, and this is around 2,671 euros per semester for this particular program. Plus a fee of 380 euros for registration fee each semester. In addition, you have the accommodation. You also need to do your insurance and all the other living expenses that you would have to meet. What we did here in the small box there is to kind of map out a little bit of what your monthly expenses for studying this program would look like. So basically, if you break it down in terms of monthly, you would have an expense of around 1,164 euros per month for your expenses for this study program. However, I will come to this then. So in the process, you also need to make, so as part of this total amount, you have to make a deposit, which is 600 euros. This is before you start the study. So you don't need to give us all the money at the start, but you need to make a deposit of 600, which is often kept on the account for the student. So it's like a guarantee account. And then there is a down payment for the studies, which is also 500 euros. And for those who need a visa, oftentimes the German embassy requires you to have a blocked account of 11,208 euros, where you can do a monthly withdrawal of around 934 euros. Okay, so And for us, it's also important if you do provide this block account so that we also can guarantee that you have the financial capacity to study. So while talking all of this money, how can you then finance your studies at 𝘱𝘱𝘳𝘳? So there are many different options, and primarily it's thought that you will have some money yourself or your parents, or you have a sponsor who can support you for the study program. While in the absence of that, or in addition to this, there are also possibilities to get scholarships from what we call the Friends of 𝘱𝘱𝘳𝘳. So this is a group of the Alumni Association from 𝘱𝘱𝘳𝘳, offers every year some scholarships to students. We also have the Deutschland-Stipendium. There is also the 𝘗𝘢𝘪𝘵. This is an organization of the Decana that also supports international students, and oftentimes they support them for internships. There is also the Erasmus Plus Fund, where there is also possibilities to get funding from there. However, for many of these, or for all of these scholarship options, you have to be already on campus to access them. There is also the possibility to do on-campus jobs. So 𝘱𝘱𝘳𝘳 has a really beautiful concept where students get very much involved in all the activities on campus. So and you get paid for the work you do, so you can also find jobs in the administration, in the library, in the Mensa or the cafeteria, in the garden, with the IT department, or in the faculty. So there are a lot of jobs, some jobs available on campus for students to apply for, and they can also access this job. However, these jobs do not provide sufficient funds for students to cover all of your living costs or all of the costs for your studies. So you will still need to have at least some money for yourself. Also taking into consideration that here in Germany, you must also be, as a student, you will have limited amounts of hours that you are allowed to work. So with this thinking, you cannot work full-time as a student. Sometimes in the summer, there is also this possibility to do some full-time work, but only in the periods when there are no classes. Other options are also political foundations and churches that you can also link up with when you are here. And also, while these are not regular funding sources, they come up here and there, and students are able to access them for their studies. How much time do I have? So why study at 𝘱𝘱𝘳𝘳? This is the most important part. So now I hope you're excited about the study program. You're not too discouraged about what the study fees, because you see that there are some possibilities. So why study then at 𝘱𝘱𝘳𝘳? First of all, I would say there is an excellent teaching staff. I tell you also that in 2010, I studied also here in 𝘱𝘱𝘳𝘳. I did a master's program in international social science. So this is also a long time ago. So I can also attest to this, this teaching culture in 𝘱𝘱𝘳𝘳 that really takes on a more mentorship relationship. So you really get time with your professors. You get time to interact with them. They're very down to earth. They're welcoming. They're very supportive beyond the classroom, because we're also a small university. So you really get one-on-one time and coaching time with your professors. They're also supporting you in your research and attending conferences. So there are many different options that through your connections with the professors, you get a lot of exposure. So that's one really great thing. Also, we have an excellent, a great learning environment. So small classrooms, small groups, kind of very close relationships. Also, we have an excellent library that is well equipped. So even if you cannot afford to buy your own books or learning materials, you can always access all of this through the library. Also, this is a very international learning and living community. because 𝘱𝘢, we are more a campus-based university, although we do offer some online programs and also have students who live on campus, but we're more, most of our programs are more campus-based programs. So there's a lot of different interactions happening. So we are not only just talking about internationalization, but you get to experience internationalization. You see it also from our teaching staff, which brings in a lot of extensive experiences from many different parts of the world, but also you get to actually interact with people from many different places, and they become friends. They are your roommates. You eat with them, you study with them, you play with them, and it's a really, really great environment. Also, 𝘱𝘢 is an institution with a lot of roots. While we are a small private university, 𝘱𝘢 has been existing since 1899, if I'm sure. And this year is our Jubilee year, where we have we celebrate 125 years. So in the pictures here, you see from old to new. There is a former student there who's now graduated. She's in the picture there. So you see 𝘱𝘢 comes with a lot of history. Okay. Also, our campus is also a very green campus. We're basically located between Berlin and Magdeburg. So on one side, you have about 25 minutes to Magdeburg and about an hour to Berlin. So we are quite situated between these two big cities. So when you get a little bit tired with the countryside life and the 𝘱𝘢 green and quiet atmosphere, you can always take a bus to Magdeburg or the bus and the train to Berlin. If you also want to have a good view of the campus, we also have a virtual campus tour. I can also put the link in the chat room, and you can also go and take a look at our campus. You can have a virtual tour, enter the classrooms, the rooms, and just take a look around the campus. We are also, maybe I did say it in the beginning, but we're a church-based university. So 𝘱𝘢 is part of the network of Adventist universities, where there are over 120 Adventist universities across the world in all continents. So in 𝘱𝘢, there is also a space for spirituality. So while nobody forces you to express faith in any way, there is also some space for those who do want to practice their faith, and they can go ahead. And it's irrespective of your religious background, your sexual orientation, your worldviews, you are all welcome to 𝘱𝘢. So thank you very much. We can go maybe then to the questions and answer. And after that, if you do have more questions, please, you can always contact me. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for the presentation. And yeah, let us move to the Q&A session already. Let me start with the first question. Dr. Jorgensen, it's for you. This is a general question. Maybe also the general answer would suffice. My biggest question is, what does it look like studying at the master's level in Germany? Is it as independent as it is usually talked about? If so, when does the guidance come in?
Okay, yeah. I would say it's, it is as independent as it's normally talked about. Guidance is, for example, if you have a course and there you have a teacher, and then you go out and do your research on a specific topic, maybe in collaboration with an organization, in our case, or an art institution. And then you do that as part of the process of the course, and then you discuss things in class, discuss with the teacher. That's, of course, one variation, or also sometimes you do it in groups. So that also means that you have peer discussions on what you're doing. And then another thing is, of course, when you go into like your master thesis, then you can write it alone or you can write it with somebody else. But that's where we then have the master forum, where you then come and also get guidance, and you have your supervisor you can talk to. And in general, there's a lot of discussions also with the faculty, with the staff. So, and we have pretty reasonably small classes as well. So that also means that you have good interaction with the staff or the faculty, so to speak. I hope
Okay.
that answers this.
Yeah, perfectly. Thank you very much for the answer. And as the small classes were mentioned, let me ask the question now to Dr. Witherspoon, because there was a question. How many students do you accept for intake?
In this particular program, we have a maximum of 20 students.
20.
Yes.
Okay. Great, thanks. And let me stay with you, Dr. Witherspoon. The question is very, again, general question. What exactly does the Adventist mean in your title? Does it imply any restrictions?
Okay, I think I ended with this, so maybe you got partly the answer. So the Adventist, as I said, 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘳 is a church-based university. So it's started by the Adventist Church, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, which has a large network of universities across the world. However, this does not in any way influence the teaching or research and the work that we do in that sense. And there are no restrictions to who can come to 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘳. When I was in 𝘱𝘢𝘪𝘳 as a student around 2010, I had in my class, we were, I think, 11 students, and we were all from different countries. And there was one guy from Burma who was a Muslim, and somebody from Nepal who was Buddhist. So it really doesn't matter. So it really doesn't matter.
Great. Thank you very much.
Where you're from.
Dr. Jorgensen, question for you now. Are the critical theories covered as the part of the curriculum?
Yeah, we work critically. So of course it depends also how you would define critical theories. But but one thing is, yeah, if you say critical theories in the narrow sense, like the Frankfurt School, they are part of it, but also more like, say, contemporary developments of theory that work critically within what is culture, feminist, post-colonial thinking, that kind of style. So that is part of the curriculum, but also depending on what courses you choose. For example, in the electives, you can have more of it or less.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Dr. Witherspoon. So you mentioned this ANABIN and DAD also websites. I put the links also in the chat for the attendees.
Oh,
and
super, thank you.
Question. Oh, yeah, sure. And there's a question for bachelors. Do you accommodate preparatory course? So do you have this kind of Studienkolleg if ANABIN says no?
Yeah, yes. So at the moment, we don't have this. However, if you do it somewhere, we will recognize it.
Okay.
And more students we see are asking for this. So maybe we will think about this in the future, what we can do around this. But at the moment, we do not offer student prep. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks. Dr. Jorgensen, in one of your answers, I saw you mentioned the process interview as a process of application of admission. Could you please elaborate a little bit more on that? Is it always a part, or, for example, in case of the DAUPS, you do these interviews with the applicants?
No, we always do an interview, but we do it based on an assessment of consecutivity. So that is the first step, and then we do an interview afterwards with those who pass that kind of criteria, so to speak. And you can find more about that type of information also on our webpage. Okay.
Great. And let me stay with you. There was also a general question, but maybe you could, again, generally address it regarding the eligibility. What are the key eligibility criteria that students have to meet? For example, you mentioned consecutivity. Is there any specific GPA, any letter of motivation, references that they should show you, or how it works?
Yeah, we have this eligibility based on these a list of consecutivity subjects. So depending on what you studied beforehand, that will be also relevant for entering, so to speak. And then there's also requirements, since we are an English taught program, to have a certain level of English proficiency, so to speak. So these kinds are there, and then you do an application also with a kind of motivation letter together with your formal GPAs and stuff like that.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
For 𝘱𝘓𝑡𝑒𝑛𝑧𝑎𝑢, there was a combination of two questions from one person. Let me read it out for you.
Okay.
So you mentioned semester abroad. If students do that, will the studies be prolonged? It's important for my scholarship application. Second one, as internship is a must, what are the key requirements in this regard? Are the students responsible for finding the opportunities, or there's any assistance provided upon request?
Okay, that's really good questions. So it does not, but doing the semester abroad does not prolong your studies. It is built into the program, so you have the 5th semester for this purpose, and you are not left alone to find a place. So we have our partner universities and partner institutions. For example, in Tanzania, we're working on a collaboration now for Jamaica, in Nigeria, in Uganda. So there are also different possibilities, and we kind of support you also through the process to get a placement in one of our one of these institutions, to say. Also, the students, you are also free to decide and say, okay, I already have somewhere I want to go. However, the only requirement is you cannot go to your own country, as is required that we want you to have a different experience. So you will have to go to another country.
Okay, great. And there was also this again the same.
The question about the assistance. Did I answer the full question?
About the internship, right? You also referred to the internship. And there was also the question again, due to location, is it easy to find the internship in general? And are there any options within the campus to these internships?
Oh, yeah, like I said, also, we don't want to encourage you to do an internship on the campus or yes, we want you to go to somewhere else, because the idea is that you will get a different experience of what it means there, what kind of challenges, what kind of issues, what kind of methods people are using, and which will also enrich your process. So we don't want you to just stay here. And that's why also since we make it compulsory, we also try to find ways to support you to be able to do this.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. For Loifana, for further employment in public sector, it cannot be Germany, right? I don't fully get the question, to be honest. Maybe you could also interpret it in different way.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Yeah, like, I don't know if it's meant to say that if you're not German, if that's a problem to get into the public sector, that I can't assess, but of course, yeah. So I'm not really sure what the question aims at.
Yeah, me neither. But maybe Rafael, you could also change the wording a bit so that we could help you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. All right. I think we cleared the board. Yeah, Dr. 𝘱𝘓𝑡𝑒𝑛𝑧𝑎𝑢 is answering the final question in the written
yes,
form.
I'm just writing a message to.
Yes, please go ahead. And I think, yeah, we're good in time as well. Thank you also, Dr. Jorgensen, for addressing some of the other questions already in the written form. That helped also a lot. And with that, let me open my official thank you slide. So thank you very much, Dr. Jorgensen, Dr. 𝘱𝘓𝑡𝑒𝑛𝑧𝑎𝑢, for your presentations, informative presentations, and for answering all the questions. Thank you, attendees, for your interest. I think the presentations were clear and answers also were clear to your questions. If you have any follow-up questions, as you were encouraged already by our guests, you can get in touch with them. If you have any general questions regarding general issues like visa or like scholarships, also were mentioned during the presentations, yeah, you can get in touch with us. Also read our articles, get in touch with us through our social media channels, etc. So I wish you a very good luck, dear attendees, with your applications. And dear guests, hopefully we'll meet each other on our future webinars. Take care and bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.